The clock struck midnight in the glass tower of Pierce Global. Everyone had gone home, except her. Charlotte Pierce, 34, CEO and the rumored Iron Heart of Manhattan Tech, lay motionless on her leather couch, pretending to sleep. She wasn't resting. She was watching. Because tonight, she wanted to see what people did when no one was looking. And what she saw her quiet janitor, Noah Bennett, do next would change both their lives forever. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Let's begin. New York slept mean. That's how Noah Bennett felt each night mopping the 58th floor of Pierce Global, like the city only rested with its fists still closed. He kept his head down, cart squeaking, badge reading, custodial, the way he needed it to read for now. If he finished by 2 a.m., he could be on the Q train and home before his daughter's inhaler whistle started its dawn chorus. Across the dim executive suite, a leather couch held a shadow that looked like a sleeping woman. He didn't look twice. CEOs didn't nap. They monitored. He wiped a fingerprint from a glass wall and caught a red blink on the trading screen, unauthorized transfer pending. Most janitors would ignore it. Noah wasn't most janitors. He stepped to the keyboard like a locksmith who hated using keys. Lines of code scrolled, tunneled through a third-party proxy, signatures spoofed, timer set for 60 seconds. His fingers remembered a former life, hashed the check, choked the tunnel, bounced the stream back through a honeypot, tagged the internal IP. 40 seconds. 30. 20. Done. Transfer killed. System sealed. Evidence preserved. He exhaled and turned to leave, then a voice rose from the couch. What did you just do? Charlotte Pierce didn't look tired. She looked carved. He froze, the mop handle between them like a thrown spear. Maintenance, he said, but the lie died fast. She stepped into the monitor's cold light and saw the admin shell still open. You wrote countermeasures, she said, calm as surgery. Who are you? Custodial, he tried again, then added, Noah. A beat. Used to build fences around other people's money. Gave it up. For what? My kid. They stood in the glow of the numbers he had just saved. Somewhere down on 42nd, a siren wailed, up here you could pretend it was wind. Charlotte's jaw worked once, like she was chewing pride. You just stopped $10 million from walking out of my building, she said. And no one knew but you. Doing the right thing still counts, Noah said, reaching for his cart. And the wrong person noticed, she answered, eyes flinting. Stay. We're not done. Charlotte's heels clicked once across the marble floor, sharp as punctuation. She leaned toward the screen, eyes narrowing. That IP address, it's internal, she murmured. Someone upstairs. Noah's hands moved before his mouth did, tracing logs, rerouting data. They're masking through an employee account. Whoever it is knew what they were doing. Her tone cooled. You seem to know what they're doing, too. Noah didn't flinch. Because I used to be them. For a moment, only the hum of the servers filled the silence. Charlotte studied him, the worn sneakers, the faded uniform, the calm precision. You worked in cybersecurity. Owned a firm once. Bennett SEC. Sold it when my wife got sick. His voice thinned, careful. Medical bills don't wait for IPOs. Charlotte said nothing. Her hand hovered near the monitor, but her gaze stayed on him, not like a boss, but like someone staring at a puzzle that didn't fit her world. Why come here? She asked quietly. Night shift pays enough. Lets me be home when my daughter wakes up. That answer hit harder than any resume. Before Charlotte could reply, an alert sounded, a new breach attempt, this time targeting executive payrolls. Noah leaned in again, typing faster. It's not random, he said. Someone's probing from inside the network. She grabbed her phone, voice clipped. Security, this is Pierce. Lock down the upper floors and trace every active connection. Noah's screen flashed green. Too late. They're scrubbing logs. Charlotte's chest tightened. You can stop them? He nodded once. If you give me clearance. She hesitated. The idea of handing her company's highest privileges to a janitor would terrify any CEO. But something about his steady eyes, tired yet fearless, made her trust him. Do it, she said. Noah's fingers blurred. Code rained down the screen like a storm. For a second, Charlotte forgot he wore a maintenance badge. Then, just as suddenly, the breach went dark. Blocked, he said. But whoever it is, they'll try again. Charlotte exhaled shakily. Then tomorrow, we find out who. Charlotte's pulse thudded in her ears. Damien, she repeated, her voice low, disbelieving. That's impossible. Noah stayed silent, eyes on the scrolling code. Possible, he said finally. Just not convenient. Damien Rhodes had been with Pierce Global for nearly a decade, her right hand, her public shield. He handled everything from investor deals to press briefings. Charlotte had trusted him with passwords, signatures, and secrets. The thought turned her stomach. The security officer shifted uncomfortably. Should we confront him, ma'am? No, Charlotte said sharply. Not yet. Then to Noah, softer, can we prove it? He hesitated. If he's smart, he covered his tracks. But nobody scrubs everything. I can trace the breadcrumbs, just need time. Charlotte looked at the clock, 3:42 a.m. Then start now. Noah pulled his old laptop from his bag, stickers peeling, edges dented. You're about to see why I used to bill $400 an hour, he said with a tired half-smile. Lines of encrypted data shimmered across the monitors. Charlotte leaned closer, trying to follow, but all she really saw was a man completely at peace in chaos. His hands moved with quiet certainty, building digital fences, dissecting the virus Damien had planted. After 20 minutes, Noah leaned back. He built a fake vendor account. Payments routed to a Cayman shell. He was transferring small amounts for months, tonight was the big cash out. Charlotte's throat tightened. Why would he risk everything? Greed, Noah said simply. People think power makes them untouchable. Charlotte folded her arms, staring at the city glittering beyond the glass. Then tomorrow, we make him feel human again. Noah smiled faintly. You're planning a storm. I'm planning justice, she said. And you're part of it. He opened his mouth to refuse, but she held up a hand. Don't. You earned a seat at the table. As dawn crept through the windows, Charlotte glanced at him. You have a daughter, right? Maya? He nodded. What would you do, she asked quietly, if she found out you let someone like Damien walk free? Noah met her gaze. Same thing you're doing now. Charlotte's pulse steadied just enough to smile. Rough night? You could say that. Damien strolled in like he owned the floor, in a sense, he did. Crisp suit, perfect tie, that effortless arrogance that came from years of getting away with everything. System flagged a few issues overnight, he said, setting his coffee beside her laptop. We'll need IT to clean it up. I'm sure we will, Charlotte replied evenly, glancing at Noah, who stood quietly by the corner window, mop in hand again, the picture of invisibility. Damien barely looked his way. New janitor? Noah met his eyes for half a second, calm and unreadable. Been here a while. Right, Damien muttered. Well, Charlotte, I'll prep the investor report. Unless there's something else? She studied him for a moment, that same smile, that same tone she'd once trusted to close million-dollar deals. The sheer confidence of it made her almost admire him, almost. "No, Damien," she said finally. "But I'd like you to join me in the boardroom at 9. We have a security matter to review." He raised a brow. "Of course." When he left, the air felt heavier. Noah set the mop aside. "You handled that well." "I lied," Charlotte said, voice trembling now that the mask was off. "I wanted to rip that smug look off his face." "Then don't waste it," Noah replied. "Make it count." She gave him a weary look. "You sound like you've done this before." He smiled faintly. "I've met men like him. Some wear suits, some wear badges. They all think the system's theirs." Charlotte straightened, resolve building behind her exhaustion. "Then let's remind him it's mine." Outside, sunlight broke across the skyline, all glass and fire. For the first time, Charlotte didn't feel like the tallest person in the room. She looked at Noah, standing quiet, still holding the mop as if it grounded him. "You ever miss it?" she asked. "The world you left behind?" He paused. "Sometimes. But I don't miss who I was." She nodded slowly. "Then maybe we both get to start over today." The air in the boardroom felt electric, polished oak table, mirrored walls, the hum of whispered speculation. No one knew why Charlotte Pierce had called an emergency meeting. Damien Rhodes, on the other hand, seemed completely at ease, greeting executives by name and flashing his signature smirk. Charlotte stood at the head of the table, calm and poised, though her pulse beat like thunder. "Thank you all for coming," she began. "There's been a breach in our financial network. A serious one." Damien leaned back, pretending surprise. "You mean the system error last night?" "I was just reviewing that." Charlotte raised a hand. "Save your explanation. We already know who was behind it." Whispers rippled across the room. Noah, standing near the door in that borrowed blazer, quietly set up a monitor and projected code logs onto the screen. Each line glowed like evidence in a trial. "These are transaction routes through a shell account registered offshore," Charlotte continued. "The signature patterns match credentials used from this building, Damien Rhodes' account." The room went dead silent. Damien laughed, sharp, mocking. "Charlotte, you can't be serious. You're basing this on janitor-level data? Who's your source?" "Him." He jabbed a finger toward Noah. Heads turned. Noah didn't flinch. "I'm the one who stopped the theft last night," he said evenly. "The trail leads straight to you. You expect anyone to believe a custodian cracked my credentials?" Damien barked, looking around for support. "This is ridiculous." Charlotte's voice cut through the chaos, steady as glass. "What's ridiculous is thinking no one would notice. You've been bleeding this company for months. You counted on everyone looking the other way, everyone except the man cleaning your floor." Damien's smile faltered. "You can't prove." Charlotte pressed a key. A recorded voice filled the speakers, Damien's own, from a company call 2 weeks prior. "If we shift the balance before the audit, no one will catch it." His face drained of color. Charlotte stepped closer. "You once told me integrity was a liability." "I disagree. It's the only thing keeping us from turning into you." The boardroom erupted in motion, chairs scraping, gasps echoing. Damien's face flushed with panic as security officers rushed forward. He yanked the cable free, the screen flickering to black. "Stop!" Charlotte shouted, her voice slicing through the noise. "Let him speak." Damien froze, breathing hard. His perfect suit looked suddenly smaller, his confidence cracking like glass under heat. "You think I did this alone?" he spat. "You think I'd risk everything for a few million? I was told to move the money. To hide it. By who? Charlotte demanded. He hesitated, long enough for Noah to see the calculation in his eyes. You wouldn't believe me, Damien said, forcing a bitter laugh. The board itself. Half the people in this room. Gasps rippled. Eyes darted nervously. Charlotte's jaw tightened. Then prove it. Damien smirked, a hint of triumph returning. I could. If I make it out of this building. He turned, but Noah stepped forward, blocking his path. You're not going anywhere, he said, voice low, calm. Damien looked him over with disdain. You think you're a hero, janitor? Noah met his gaze evenly. No. Just a father who's tired of watching men like you teach my kid that money means more than right and wrong. That stopped Damien cold, just long enough for security to take him by the arms. As they escorted him out, he threw one last remark over his shoulder. You think this company's clean? Ask yourself who approved my access, Charlotte. You signed it. Silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. When the door shut, Charlotte stood frozen, staring at the polished table. Her reflection trembled faintly in its surface. She turned toward Noah. He's lying, she said quietly. I hope so, Noah replied. But if he's not, we'll find out. She exhaled slowly, then nodded. Then we keep digging. The board members whispered nervously, unsure which side to stand on. Charlotte straightened her blazer. Meeting adjourned, she said firmly. From now on, transparency isn't a suggestion, it's policy. As the room emptied, Noah unplugged his laptop and looked out over the skyline. You know, he said softly, he's right about one thing. Charlotte glanced up, tense. What's that? He turned to her, eyes steady. This goes higher than him. Charlotte's hand tightened around the phone. The message pulsed once more before disappearing. No sender. No trace. Just the kind of threat that came from people who knew exactly what they were doing. Noah leaned closer. Show me. She handed him the phone without a word. He scanned the screen, jaw tightening. Encrypted. Routed through an onion relay, they're covering their tracks. But they slipped. How bad? She asked. He met her eyes. Bad enough that whoever sent this has access to your personal device. Charlotte's stomach dropped. That's impossible. I use a secure. He shook his head. Nothing's secure forever. Especially when someone inside helps unlock the door. For a long moment, neither spoke. The morning light outside had turned cold and metallic, spilling across the office floor like water on steel. Charlotte rubbed her temple. You think Damien's still in play? No, Noah said. This isn't him. This is someone bigger. Someone who doesn't want you or me talking. She looked at him then, really looked at him. The quiet janitor who should have been invisible, now the only person she could trust. Why are you helping me, Noah? You could walk away right now. He smiled faintly, the kind of tired smile that carried both warmth and history. Because my daughter deserves a world where people like Damien don't win. Charlotte exhaled, steadying herself. Then we're going to finish this. They moved to the smaller executive office, one Charlotte rarely used. Noah set up his laptop, rerouting the network through an isolated server. I'm tracing the origin of the threat, he said. If we're lucky, we'll find who's pulling the strings. Minutes turned into an hour. The city roared below, but up here, every click of the keyboard felt like a heartbeat. Then Noah froze. Got something, he murmured. Charlotte leaned over his shoulder. On the screen, a familiar logo appeared, the private banking branch of Pierce Global itself. The attack hadn't come from outside at all. It had originated from an account under the CEO's own name. Charlotte's face went pale. That's impossible. Noah's voice dropped. Someone's using your identity to cover their trail. The room plunged into darkness, lit only by the ghostly red blink of the hallway camera. For a few seconds, neither of them moved. The hum of the servers had died. Even the city noise below felt distant, muffled. Noah's voice cut through the stillness. They just killed the main grid. Someone's erasing logs in real time. Charlotte's breath came faster. Can they see us? Not yet, he said, already reaching for the emergency light switch on his laptop bag. A dim beam illuminated his face, calm, focused, alive in a way she hadn't seen before. But they're close. Whoever's behind this is inside the building. Charlotte turned toward the window, where the reflection of that red camera light pulsed like a heartbeat. We have to get to security. No, Noah said quickly. That's the first place they'll expect. They'll wipe the footage. Then where? He paused. Your old office, the one on the 42nd floor. It's not connected to the main network. We can work from there. They moved fast. The stairwell echoed with every hurried step. The silence of the upper floors was unnerving, no hum of machines, no late-night chatter from cleaning crews. Only the echo of their own footsteps. When they reached the 42nd floor, Charlotte swiped her badge, denied. Noah pulled a slim drive from his pocket, slid it into the panel, and after a few tense seconds, the door clicked open. Old habits, he murmured. Inside, dust floated in the weak emergency light. The office had been sealed for years, a remnant of her father's era at Pierce Global. His portrait still hung on the far wall, staring down at them like a ghost from another time. Charlotte's eyes softened for just a moment. He built this company, she said quietly. And I let it rot. Noah shook his head. No. You're cleaning it up. He booted up the isolated terminal. All right. I'm rerouting the backups from the server vault. We'll know exactly who accessed your credentials. The screen flickered, and then, for the briefest second, a name appeared before the monitor went black again. Charlotte blinked. Did you see that? Noah's voice was tight. Yeah. It said Pierce Legacy Access, root admin. Charlotte froze. That's my father's code. It shouldn't even exist. Charlotte pressed her back against the wall, breath shallow. The sound of boots echoed down the corridor, measured, deliberate. Not security. These men moved like they belonged here. Noah crouched beside her, whispering, "Stay low. Don't speak unless I say so." He unplugged the terminal drive, slipping it into his pocket. The soft click of metal sounded deafening in the dark. The flashlight beam sliced through the glass office doors one by one, drawing closer. Charlotte's mind raced, her father's code, the fake accounts, the threats. Could it really all trace back to him? Noah leaned toward her. If we get separated, take the east stairwell. Don't stop. I'm not leaving you, she hissed. You might have to. The beam paused outside their door. For a full 3 seconds, silence. Then a voice, male, low, familiar. Charlotte? You in there? Her blood ran cold. It was Damien. Noah's jaw clenched. He shouldn't be here. Damien's tone dripped with mock sympathy. You should have listened. You made it personal. Now everyone loses. He turned the handle. The door creaked an inch. Charlotte's hand flew to her mouth. Noah grabbed a nearby metal ruler from the desk, the only weapon within reach. As the door swung wider, Noah struck first, a quick, sharp move that sent the flashlight tumbling. The room plunged into shadow again. Damien stumbled back with a grunt, and Noah lunged forward, slamming him against the doorframe. Who sent you? Noah demanded. Damien wheezed a laugh. You think I'm the one pulling the strings? You're still cleaning up after ghosts, Bennett. What ghosts? Charlotte snapped. The ones your father left behind, Damien spat, smirking through blood. You think he built this empire alone? Every system, every offshore account, he made the network you're trying to destroy. Charlotte's hands trembled. You're lying. But deep down, the look in Noah's eyes told her he believed it might be true. Noah grabbed Damien's collar. Where's the backup server? Damien chuckled. Buried with your conscience, sub-basement, archive vault. Before Noah could press further, distant sirens wailed through the building, internal security. Damien grinned. You've got 5 minutes before they call you the hackers. Charlotte froze mid-step, staring at the mural. The photo was older than she was, her father at a ribbon cutting, hand on Damien's shoulder. The realization hit like a thunderclap. He wasn't just an employee, she whispered. He was there from the start. Noah's grip tightened on her arm. Then he's not acting alone. He's finishing something your father began. The sirens grew louder, echoing through the stairwell. They descended fast, down 2, 3, then 4 floors until they reached the sub-basement. The air grew colder, heavy with dust and static. At the end of the corridor stood a reinforced vault door marked Archive, Level 0. Charlotte swiped her badge, denied. She turned to Noah, breathless. Can you open it? He nodded once. Your father's code is still alive in the system. I can use it against itself. The keypad blinked under his fingers. Numbers blurred, algorithms folded. The lock gave way with a mechanical hiss. Inside, rows of humming servers bathed the room in blue light, old hardware, still running. The ghost of Pierce Global's original network. Noah approached the central console. If I upload this, he said, holding the drive, we'll expose everything, every offshore account, every shadow partner. The company will burn before it heals. Charlotte stepped beside him. Then let it burn. He looked at her, surprised by the quiet conviction in her voice. You'll lose everything. I already did, she said softly. I just didn't know it yet. Noah inserted the drive. The servers came alive, lights pulsing like awakening eyes. Lines of data filled the monitors, thousands of names, dates, and transactions spanning decades. Above the noise, Damien's voice echoed faintly from the hallway. You can't stop it. It's too big. Charlotte didn't turn. Maybe. But it ends with us. Noah hit enter. The system screamed as firewalls collapsed. Within seconds, the data streamed to every major regulatory server across the country. Then, silence. Power surged, then died. The screens went black for good. A week later, headlines filled every screen in America. Pierce Global exposed, CEO cooperates in full integrity reform. Damien Rhodes and several board members faced charges. The company's fortune was frozen pending investigation. In the midst of it all, Charlotte didn't hide. She stood on the same stage where her father once promised growth and instead spoke of truth. Beside her, in a clean gray suit that somehow still felt humble, stood Noah Bennett. When reporters asked what came next, Charlotte smiled faintly. We rebuild. This time with people who don't hide behind titles. Later that night, on a quiet Brooklyn bus, Noah sat with his daughter Maya asleep against his shoulder. Charlotte rode beside them, no bodyguards, no pretense, just the city lights passing through the glass. You kept your word, Noah said softly. So did you, she replied. You stayed when it mattered. He looked down at Maya and smiled. That's the only time it does. The bus rumbled into the night, a janitor, a CEO, and a child, proof that sometimes the strongest fire comes from the smallest light. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more stories that stay with you.